Hey y'all, what's going on? Good afternoon. Happy belated Valentine's Day. I had myself whew, a real good Valentine's Day, or should I say a real good Valentine's Day and night. It was really good. Um and I'm here. Matter of fact, I woke up at like 4:30 p.m. That's how long the night was. We're gonna address a question today. Very simple, kind of unconventional space. I do have some scholarship, but we want to know, if you were deported, would the United States of America miss your culture or bid you good riddance? Or to quote Chris, um, I don't say Chris, I meant Chris Brown, would America say deuces? All that bullshit's for the birds? Deuces. That's a good question. Well, I'll tell you what.
Petty ass titles.
It's a petty ass title. We
Now
got
I sent you something in Twitter. This is a list of the cultures that I was researching. So
okay.
we can use that to go one by one to see if we would miss their culture. But you don't
Oh,
have to use that exact list.
okay. No,
You you can look at it and see what I'm talking about.
nice,
Because
nice.
sometimes it's older cultures.
Yeah, this is a very thorough list. Thank you, Wani.
This is very thorough. So we're gonna go down the list, ladies and gentlemen. Um, Wani, should we post the list? What do you think?
No.
No, okay, it's too extensive. All right, so hell, let's start at the top. The Khoisan of South Africa. If they were deported, would we miss them? What do y'all think?
Well, no, because they don't come over here that often. So they do not influence our culture. The closest we have is Tyla,
Mm,
and she's exhibiting our culture. So she's not bringing any culture. Hmm.
mm. Yeah, she's stealing our shit. What about East Africans? If East Africans was deported, would we miss them? Would we miss Ilhan Omar? Will we miss her people if they're deported? Nikki said we would bid them good riddance. Let me ask you a question. Would they miss us? Would foundational black Americans be missed if we were deported?
They wouldn't have no titty to suck on if
Now,
black
Oh
if
people
my
were
God.
deported.
if they deported us, not only would they miss us, they would follow us wherever we went. If we got deported to the damn sewer system, white Americans would start, but we see tents start popping up in the sewer. Hey, buddy, I'm just checking out the
Just
sewer to see what's
checking it
going.
out right now, just snaking things over here. We don't know. Hey,
You
hey, what you
know,
guys doing down there?
I'm just checking the pipes. Making sure they're functioning correctly. Wani, who do you think we would miss other than us?
Well, if we left, you see, like I was telling you before, if we said, I'm storming out in a huff, I'm mad, oh boy, a whole lot of Olympics would not be won. You would have no music genres. The Civil War wouldn't have been won. You want me to read the quotes?
Absolutely.
Because I'll read Lincoln's quotes. Without the military help of the black freedmen, we wouldn't have won the Civil War. So I don't know what you guys would be doing. If we took all those inventions away, you wouldn't be able to turn the light bulb on. And you might not even have a video projector. So you don't want us storming out in a huff, because if we play this game, we know who's going to win. Again, just like we win the Olympics, we're going to win this one. I'll take each one of these people's cultures. Most of the Europeans don't even they don't even express their culture because they're so busy trying to be English, trying to tuck themselves under the English colony here.
That's very important, Wani. And maybe
Mhm.
we don't. I have a thing where I just assume people know and have had the experiences that I have. When I've had, I've been really blessed with a lot of rare and esoteric life experiences. What I'm talking about is, I studied at a fancy college years ago. I'm not even naming it, but my roommates and suite mates were from Europe. This is back in the early 2000s. And I'm from Alabama. I'm a country boy. I thought they was. Well, I called them white people one day, and they were like, "White? What does that mean?" They're like, "I'm Italian. I'm German. I'm Dutch. from Holland." They didn't. Not one of them called themselves white, including the English people. They were like, "I'm English. I'm not white. I'm English." And I learned something right then. I learned that white is a social construct. used and created in diametric opposition to black people. That's what the fuck it is. And what Wani was saying is very important because you historically, what we have to face, ladies and gentlemen, is a lot of the quote unquote white people in America are not from what we call Mayflower white. They're not of English descent. Uh, with lineage. Matter of fact, Wani, I would like to know how many Americans are Mayflower white. What percentage do you know?
Well, they said from that ship of 102 people, it's about 35 million people today.
Wow, that's very small. 35. How many Americans is it? 300 million?
I'm
Three.
not sure.
I know. Well, how many Americans is it? Let's say let me no, let me not guess. Let me find out how many people live in America. 'Cause I want to know that percentage. I'll do the percentage myself. Hold on one second. How many people?
334.9 million were
Dang, that
that was a number for 2023,
three,
but I can't get it for 2024.
so 334.
Yeah, it was 334, and it was 345 in 2024.
Okay, all right, 3 4 divided by I'm doing the percentage. And you said one. How many did you say Wani was 34 million?
About 35 million.
Okay, we're gonna
Oh,
do.
that's completely off then. Oh, this is AI.
Oh damn,
Okay.
well, I can do that in my head.
What do
That's
you mean? No, no, we said Mayflower
Oh, the
no,
people,
Mayflower.
not
Okay.
white people.
no. Both of y'all are doing just fine. Nikki, I was asking Wani what. So I did. I can do that percentage in my head. That's about 1%.
Oh, you're
So
asking me the percentage.
no, I did it in my head. It's one
Oh,
percent. 1% of no, it's less than 1% because all of 335 million are not white people, right? So
right.
substantially less than 1% of American white people, substantially less are
Mm.
are Mayflower white. So what that
Oh,
means,
I'm
like,
sorry.
right, check that out. So what that means, ladies and gentlemen, is you got a whole bunch of quote unquote white people here who are not from English Mayflower lineage, who have, like Wani said, given up their culture to assimilating white, to be what is called white. I'll never forget in the late 90s when I was in high school, early 2000. I had a history. I went to a lily white high school, and my dad put me and my sister into to save us from gang warfare that was eating us alive. Almost got me killed back then. And I had one of my teachers was a black man, just one, and he taught history. And he was very popular because his dad owned a gas station in the hood that we came from. A very popular person. But anyway, my this history teacher, very good teacher. I had a bunch of Lebanese. Birmingham has a big Lebanese population. I've never really figured that out, but they're there. And like the Lebanese, they're almost as dark as me. They're like my color. Some of them were darker than me. And we were talking about slavery. It was American history. We were talking about slavery, and one of the Lebanese got up and said, "My granddaddy owned a whole bunch of slaves, but he treated his slaves right." And my teacher was like, "Man, sit your ass down. You Lebanese, you didn't own no goddamn slaves. You lost your mind." And I was waiting on him to get fired, but it was so like truthful and to the point that nobody ever reported him for saying that. But that goes to show that a Lebanese person, I'm not even sure if Lebanese people are for real European or not. That's
No, they're not.
yeah, aren't they like
They're
Arab?
out of their minds.
Yeah, they didn't look
They
white.
think because they're Christian, see, a lot of people are very confused. They're
Right.
Arabs, but they think because they're Christian that they're not Arabs. So
Wow.
they're not smart, basically.
Yeah.
That's how Turkish people are. They think that if they become Christian and come to America, they're going to be white. I mean, that's what they asked me. Would I be white if I just stopped being Muslim? They're very confused. It has not. They're Turkic. They're not going to be white. They're going to be Turkic. It's not white. It's not Asian. It's something kind of Asian.
Yeah, it ain't white. It ain't nowhere near white because the Lebanese that I went to high school with, I was I did a whole bunch of high school play sports, but I was involved with the theater. You know what I'm saying? I really liked I had a really award-winning theater arts teacher. She's still alive. She's just a uh, fantastic person. So I was in her little club. I like to build stuff. It's called technical theater. And if you got a child, if those of you here who got children in high school, if you got a child that just needs to something to do, put them in technical theater, man. Especially a little boy, let him build. It's perfect because you're doing boy stuff, like you building stuff. You deal with saws, you building sets, but all the pretty girls go to the theater, and the boys that are in the theater, like acting and stuff, don't necessarily like girls. You know what I'm saying? So if you're in the set building stuff, like you kind of have like the hookup on the pretty girls, it was so perfect. But my point of bringing this up is I was in the theater departments, and uh there's a big Lebanese family down there. And I bonded with them because they were kind of racially confused, but they were darker than me. But by the time we got into college, we were all in college, they associated with white, which always confused me. But Wani, that's it, because you're right, because they were at the Catholic Church. You're right, they were Catholic. But that's just the fucking madness of America. That's what the sauce is. Maybe I've been put on earth to bust that wide open, and I did bust it open in my first book. The hierarchy, the contract of America is come over here and accept your whiteness and be diametrically opposed to black people. Guys, hold on, let's break that shit down. I'm waking it up. Hold on, let me get a copy of my book. Hold on. Let's talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. When I was doing long story short, when I was at uh, I'm gonna just say it, Lemoyne College in Memphis, Tennessee, a really one of the best kept secrets in the Southeast. It's a tiny little bitty college that's just a lot of very famous people went there. In fact, Marion Barry went there, and long story. But I was I was put over multicultural education in my department as uh, certified faculty in the school of education. I made teachers. That's what I did. And my department head at the time was just very open minded to my genius. You know what I'm saying? He said he's young, he knows what he's doing, and he let me write the book for the class. So I wrote the book for the class, which is for sale if you want it. I'll put my cash up shortly, but and I ended up losing that job because I wrote the book. I wrote the book focused on Black history. That was my focus. But in my research for the book, I learned something. I found Lemoyne has a very extensive, uh, like a book section with ancient books, like rare books. It's locked. Um, and I found Christopher Columbus's diary. In his diary, he had excerpts from his captain's log. So Christopher Columbus, actually, the fucker's name was Christophe Colomb, but I'm trying to identify him so y'all would know him. All these lies, all this misleadingness. But Christopher Columbus, air quotes, was hired by the Catholic Church. He got a charter from Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand of Spain to go look for uh, gold. Dr. John Henry Clark said he was looking for land for a whole ethnic group. I mean, a group of a religious group of people. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about, but I'm gonna leave that alone. I don't know, Wani. What do you think? Was
I'll
Christopher
talk about it.
what is the truth? Was Christopher Columbus was he looking for gold, or was he looking for a land for a group of people who got kicked out of Europe? What was he looking for, really?
Well, to be honest, at the same time that his group of Jewish people were being expelled,
Right?
was the same time that he got on that ship and boogied on out of there.
I don't think that's a coincidence. I think he
It
was
was
looking for,
called the Alhambra Decree, called for the expulsion of all Jews in 1492.
right.
And then this is all my evidence that he's Jewish, definitely Jewish. He was financed and advised by all Jewish men, and it was a lot of them, all Jewish. He wrote 13 letters to his relatives that had all kinds of Jewish symbols on them and Jewish phrases. But when he wrote to other people that weren't his family members, he didn't put those phrases and symbols on the letters. The ship's log referenced the Hebrew Bible and the Hebrew calendar. He corresponded in Hebrew, hint, hint, Portuguese,
Wow.
and Ladino, which is a dialect of Spanish with Hebrew, Castilian, and Galatian linguistics. His last will and testament adhered to the philosophy of philanthropy in the Hebrew Bible and in Sails of Hope, which is a book by Simon Wiesenthal. It suggested that Christopher Columbus journeyed to find a sanctuary for Jews.
Wow. Yeah,
So
yeah. That's what
that's
Dr.
that's it. That's my evidence that he is Jewish.
That's what Dr. John Henry Clark said. Dr. John Henry Clark, in his book, Christopher Columbus and the African Holocaust, was a wonderful book that I can't find. I don't know where the hell it went, but he says that according to Dr. John Henry Clark, Christopher Columbus was looking for a new homeland for the Jews because they were expelled from Europe in 1492, just like Wani just said. Well, what I've discovered in my scholarship is I found his diary. Now, what I'm about to read to you, ladies and gentlemen, is Christopher Columbus's actual fucking words. Christopher Columbus said, quote, "They brought us parrots and balls of cotton and spears and many other things which they exchanged for glass beads and hawks' bells. They willingly traded everything they owned. They were well built with good bodies and handsome features. They do not bear arms and do not know them, for I showed them a sword, and they took it by the edge and cut themselves out of ignorance. They have no iron, their spears are made of cane. They would make fine servants. With 50 men, we could subjugate them all and make them do whatever we want." He came to the New World, quote unquote, looking for some goddamn slaves. Why did he do that? He did that because some goddamn fool, tribal African, decided it would be a good idea to give some hungry Europeans a gaggle of enslaved Africans to ball out and show how powerful he was. These Europeans took these enslaved Africans to Pope Innocent II. I think y'all can fact check me on that. I think it's Innocent II. It was one of the Pope Innocences. Fuck them all, actually. Why the fuck his name was Innocence? What is that? Is it a
Do you
joke?
know what year that was? Was that before?
1401.
Okay, so that was way before the missionaries started talking about who would be the best to be enslaved.
Right, right. Well, that's the name mission. They're on a goddamn mission for that for Pope Innocence. But Pope Innocence, when those enslaved Africans were donated to the Catholic Church, Pope Innocence, a light bulb went off in his head because Europeans enslaved each other. That's some shit that history do not talk about. The Europeans were cruel and enslaved. They enslaved each other. They raped. They were cruel. Look up the egg of what's that shit? The egg of death or some shit. Like the shit they did was just fucking crazy.
Oh,
Um, they had an egg where they stuck it up a woman's private part and then cranked it up until it expanded and like ripped her in
what,
half. Just madness.
what
Um,
what was that?
I think it's called the egg of
They
death.
had a lot of torture things back then. That was not a good time.
Yeah.
So, okay, are you finished?
Oh, all I was gonna say is when the and I'll finna wrap up, but when they donated those enslaved Africans to Pope Innocent II, Innocent said this is a great idea because the enslaved Europeans would often grow a beard, grow their hair, and run away because everybody looked alike. So Pope Innocent said these people, if they run away, we could identify them. Therefore, he doomed all people of color to servitude. So he doomed everybody, every African person to servitude. So that kind of led up to Christopher Columbus looking for new slaves and new lands and that type of thing. But go ahead, one.
Okay, so I was going to get back to the list, which shows South Africa, East Africa, Central Africa, West Africa, and I'll leave Egypt out. We don't have modern Egyptian culture, but I don't think we can, as a group of people on the earth, I don't think you can kick out Egyptian culture, which influenced Greek culture, which we are living under those two very powerful cultures influence the way that we live today. However, the current immigrants in the formation of the United States of America is not influenced by whatever East Africans are into. Um, and it's not influenced by South Africa or Southern Africa. So let's skip ahead to, or North Africa. Now, we did mention Arabs. What do you feel their contributions are to the United States? I don't know of any foundational contributions, um, or anything really, other than having the show That Girl, where she pretended to not be Arab through the whole show.
Honestly, as a historian, I can't really think, and I'm not being facetious. I'm just being honest. I can't really. Contributions by that community don't ring a bell. Cheap oil, maybe. I don't know. I don't see any
Mhm.
contributions.
Any Arab people want to come up and tell us your contributions that America could not function with and would alter the course of our culture and change the way that America is viewed by the world? Because
Crickets.
we have oil, you know. So yeah, let's let Fire Nagy get up here, and Empress.
Yeah, educators, Fire Nagy, Empress. I see you.
Oh, hey, thanks. Good to hear from you guys. Um, I want to ask a question. Like, how would we feel if everybody else was deported and it was just us? Would we kind of get some clear mental space? Would we like, just like party? It's fun. How would that make Black Americans feel?
I
Uh, just a question for the room.
I think if I may go first on that, I think that would be so ideal. Like Black Americans would come together and clean up this mess. I mean, I think Egypt would rise again. I mean, and like Brother Tariq Nasheed said, if the system got out our way years ago, we would be so advanced, we'd be flying around in spaceships. I think they know our potential, which is why they cannot let that happen. But I'll let somebody else add to it.
Oh, I was just going to say at first there would be a void, like, right now, if they say, uh, we don't need immigrants, of course we're going to have a shortage in something. Of course, there's going to be some bumps along the way until we get situated. If you just, snatch a whole group of people out of somewhere that was doing something, you're going to have to fill the void. So if we do feel any kind of pains from immigrants not being around to mow the lawn and work in the fast food restaurants, it's only because we weren't prepared. We certainly have people to do all of these jobs, and we would do very well, but it would be better to have a transition rather than people just disappearing out of nowhere.
How about Soviet style, right? Soviet style, whereas let's say they deported all the Black Americans to like 4 or 5 states. How would that make you feel? Would it make you feel like it's unfair, or it's? I mean,
No, I don't like it. I like to live in every state.
Yeah,
but what
yeah.
if they said, "Hey, Soviet style, you guys get this territory over here. Nobody can come in, and you don't have to be bothered with anybody. We'll protect your borders."
Well, I've heard that before. That sounds in the rules of war. That sounds like we are being isolated. Like Wani said, is having a spread. I don't know. You can look at it several different ways. There are people that would say we need a black majority state, and
We do,
I'm
but
not
we have
agree.
enough people to have that and still live in every state. So
Yeah, that's exactly
it's
my
not a
sentiment.
problem.
That's exactly my sentiment. We can have them both at the same time. We need to be spread out in every state, but also we need concentrated pockets. So yeah, I'm not totally against that, but I
Remember that book where he discussed it? What was that book? I forget. Where he said we should all move to
oh
certain states in the South.
that was Charles Blow, The Devil We Know.
Right. So he didn't say we all had to move to, he just said a certain portion needs to, pile up in various places. He didn't say everybody. So that we can do both. Definitely can do both.
I'm glad you said that, Wani, because several people on spaces that are for that ideology tend to go extreme and say we all need to just pack up and move and go to one place. When that's not what Charles Blow said. He said that just a good bit of us. So it's both and. you know.
Yes. Anything else for now,
Well,
Fire?
I would say that I kind of tend to. It'd be interesting if they deported us and said, "Hey, you're all in one state," because I don't think they would do that because that'd be the precursor for the separation of the United States. Because if you put all of us in 5 or 6 states, we definitely would mobilize. We definitely would organize in a way. We would create foreign relations. But it's just a thing to think about. What if they said, "Hey, we're going to deport you guys all to 5 or 6 states." It's just interesting to hear the different perspectives of how that would shape up. I tend to be on the side that they would never do that because that would actually strengthen us, much as it did the European states when the Europeans wanted ethno states. I guess Woodrow Wilson, he really wanted the Europe to have ethno states. And if you look at why the great powers of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, why the Russian Empire fell apart, it was because the Russians would say, "Hey, we're going to deport you to this area over here." Well, then those groups would just work together. They would cooperate and they would just try to harness the resources and the culture and identity of that group in that area. So I just want to hear the different opinions of that. How would that look if they said, "Hey, look, we'll just deport you over here," because I do believe that California and some of those states in the Southwest have become ethno states in the United States. I yield the floor.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We got to be careful. Yeah, well, we have to realize, like I identified in my book, the United States of America was created in diametric opposition to foundational Black Americans from the fucking beginning. I don't know why nobody says that. The United, let me prove it to you right quick. The United States was formed based off of the attacks that enslaved blacks, enslaved Africans running away from the plantation, running into Indians, air quotes, would impose upon the 13 colonies, the British Mayflower white people. They got scared to death of us and wrote home to mama. Now I say this over and over again, so I'm not going to repeat myself. Y'all already know the story by now. But what I am going to say is the Join or Die cartoon. The Join or Die newspaper was created by great occultist and baron named Benjamin Franklin. And Join or Die led to the creation of the United States of America. That's so important to know. It's important because the um, the United States of America was created because blacks, I would say blacks just in general, because Native Americans, there is some argument that the real Native Americans are black, and I have evidence of that my dumb ass didn't take a picture of. I'm trained with the Marine Corps in 2020. I'm not a Marine, but let's just say I was attached to him for a training that I thought was going to be academic, and I was wrong. By the time the Marines were done with me, I was having auditory hallucinations. They broke my mind. But but at the end of training, the Marines will treat you really nice and take you to their museum, and they take you to Tun Tower, their little thing, feed you real good. Well, at the museum, um, it was a big picture, like a real photograph of the Indian Wars, where the Marine Corps rounded up about 150 Indians, air quotes, to take them to jail. And it was a whole families of air quote Indians there, and they had big old pretty lips, big old nose. I tell you who they look like. They put you in the mind of um, uh, Michi God, like they look like him, except they had like big old afros. They look like me, but they were darker than me. You know what I'm saying? I tell you who Nikki the God looks like, almost like they look like Nikki. They look like us, but they had big old afros and they had feathers, the same clothes just like on the TV shows, you know what I'm saying? Feathers, moccasins, all that. But they look like black people. But my point in bringing that up is the Native Americans and the blacks would marry each other, and they were attacking Mayflower whites so bad that the Mayflower whites came together and joined. Now, if you look in the jumbotron, I put the Join or Die, that written by Benjamin Franklin. That was written, reproduced, and sent to the Mayflower whites all across the 13 colonies, saying we need to join. Basically, let me interpret that: we need to join together, or these Negroes and Indians are going to fucking kill us. So join or die became the United States of America. So given that information I just gave you, do y'all know that the United States of fucking America was created because of us? We are the reason. If we, let me say it another way. If black foundation black Americans weren't here, there would have been no need to form. There would have been no need to join, and America would have been a satellite group of countries, kind of like the Caribbean. You know how the Caribbean has like French territories, a bunch of British territories. You know what I'm saying?
Well, maybe they wouldn't have ethnocided themselves by calling themselves white.
No, they
And then
damn.
ethnocided all the other Europeans that came over that they discouraged from saying their group because they wanted to be a big white mob against us. So they've ethnocided themselves just to make sure that they look like a big mob against us. Hello.
Oh, I'm listening. I can hear you. Maybe it's the professor.
I know. I had my damn mute button on. I'm up here going off. What I was saying is the history of our country is so amazing, Wani, because and I didn't talk over you, brother. I'm gonna let you had the floor in a minute, but I accidentally had the mute button on. It's so interesting because what you just said, when we are opening up some groundbreaking research in this room right now. Wani referred to white as ethnocide, and it is because Europeans lose their culture by identifying with white. Just like the Lebanese dude in my class and his whole goddamn family. I'm not gonna say their name because they're a popular Birmingham family, but they just like they, I'm white. I'm white. Darker than me talking about I'm white. Not even white. I'm white. You know what I'm saying? That eliminates their culture. You know what I'm saying? They have to amalgamate. I remember one of them, he ended up killing himself, but he used to dye his hair blonde. Jet black hair, he would dye it blonde, you know. What Wani called whiteness is ethnocide. Now, what I was saying was what reason why I was saying is so interesting to me because what's happening right now with immigration is certain groups have come to America. Let's use the Indians because I got something to tell you. Me and my lady just ate at an Indian restaurant and paid $50 for a nasty ass meal that I'm gonna boycott Indian food for a minute.
That means you
What?
went to the wrong place.
Oh man, we went to this place, but I'm gonna go to it, but I don't want
What
to.
you need to do is have her to learn how to make it. She likes to make things, right?
Yes, she does.
That'll be quite a challenge because it's still I'm still working on it. I don't want to eat from the
Oh, she
Indian
she heard
place.
us and she said, "I know how."
Woo!
she, She said, "Challenge accepted." Well, before we get all laughing and giggly, let me talk about this shit right quick. There are more groups than the Indians. I'm referring to Eastern Indians. What they let's use the Eastern Indians. The Eastern Indians have come to the United States and formed groups in engineering and technology, high paying jobs, and kind of froze out. Basically, they formed unions, unspoken unions, in diametric opposition of the white Americans. You know what I'm saying? So the white Americans are losing jobs to the Indians. I saw it. I had to represent some students at a PWI in Memphis. Some black male students the school of engineering at this particular school were just eliminating black people, black males from the school of engineering. That the Indian professors did not like black males going through a school of engineering. I don't know why. And they didn't really care for black females, but they really wanted to get black males out. And it became a thing because when they started trying to eliminate the white kids, the white students have unions, like the professors will speak up from, oh hell no, you're not going to fuck with us, which is we need to build something like that. But what happened today is me and the lady decided she didn't want to cook. We had a really been up too late last night, but so we went to eat Indian food. And we sat down at this restaurant. There was a bunch of deletes in there. They were not Brahmin. They were darker than me. And they had they acted like they were mad that I was there. Like, and I'm like, how dare you come over here out the slum you from and get mad? I didn't want to pay them. Like, I was like, can we just walk out? Like, but it's a lot of vitriol coming from these immigrant groups. You know what I'm saying? Towards us was what I was gonna say. Back to the topic. If we were deported, would the United States miss your culture? So since we're talking about Indians, if what do y'all think? If Eastern Indians were deported, wouldn't
Well, they don't have anything to do with the formation, founding, or initial culture of America. So we could live without Indian food and we could make our own Indian food. Anybody else know of anything that the Indians did to help this be what we know as American culture? What are their contributions to American culture? Anybody know? I could be
Slushies,
missing something.
Slurpees,
Slushies.
slushes?
What?
Slurpees,
So they're poisoning us on top of the rest of it.
Slurpees,
Nearly Fuller,
poor
go
quality
ahead.
motels.
Nearly Fuller called it sweet poison.
Anybody want to come up and defend the East Indian? Not saying that they don't have a culture in India. We're talking about their culture here, their contribution to what makes America America here. Because I like they have a very interesting culture. I like it. As they have a lot of stuff going on over there. But um, the ancient culture is very intriguing and just doesn't seem to filter to the modern population that we encounter at all. And so they have written a lot of things and they have a lot of great ideas, but it doesn't filter to the population in the way that we would hope it did.
Right. So, Wani, if I understand you correctly, you're referring to groups that have helped to build American culture.
Right. And would they be missed if they left? Probably not. I mean, like we already went over the Khoisan, they don't immigrate here, so of course we're not going to miss their culture because we're not experiencing it.
Hmm. I don't think so. I don't think they. I don't see any contribution that the Eastern Indians have contributed to. And again, I'm not being facetious. I'm trying my best to think through something. If y'all think of something, feel free to grab a mic and come up. But until that moment, let's move right along. West
Can I
Africa.
pretend to be
Oh, go ahead, bro.
can I
Yes,
pretend to be
sir.
Vivek Ramaswamy then?
Go ahead.
Yes.
You Americans are mediocre. Okay, all of you are mediocre. All right. And can I pretend to be Roland Martin for a second? Y'all better vote for that black
Yes.
woman. Y'all better vote for that
Stupid
black woman.
fool. Beep 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 beep. Stupid fool.
Now, as I go down the list, we get to Turkic culture. Now, the Ottoman Empire was very influential. They did influence tulip cultivation and malls. So even though they're not here, we are apparently making malls in the style that they seem to have come up with the notion of malls. So we get rid of Turkic people, can't go to the mall. I can live with that, but I'm just going to give them credit. Credit where credit is due.
And tulips help.
I love tulips.
I used to plant them. They're not reliable. They come up one year and then they don't really come back. They don't usually come back. Daffodils are more reliable than tulips. I'm just saying.
Anybody else want to talk about Turkic culture? We wouldn't have any dumb Moors walking around with fezzes on.
Mm.
Let's see what else. They like turbans and fezzes sometimes.
Ladies and gentlemen, earlier I referenced my book. If you want a copy, I have more. And FYI, I sent a bunch out today. So if you ordered a copy of my book this week or the week or last week, I went ahead and sent it out today to the addresses. Thank you for adding your address. It's $25. Put $25 on the Cash App and put your full address in the Cash App, and I will send it out to you next week. All right. Other than that, in a moment, I'm putting Awani Spots and Nikki the God's Cash App in the Jumbotron. Show them love. And And that's that. Wani, what was the next culture?
The next culture is we'll just say Asian. We'll do like Chinese, Japanese. So the Chinese people are credited with building the railroad, which they didn't build. They have something to do with 700 miles of track, which they built with other immigrants in the West. And we built thousands of miles of track and complete railroads in the South and in the East. So, as far as creating America or being the foundation of it or a big part of the formation, they seem to be lacking on Olympic stars, inventions, building. I don't see where they've put in a lot of cultural, uh, you know, I don't see it. I mean, they just put up some Chinatowns in every place they go, and that's not American culture. That's them isolating themselves and not assimilating.
Okay, do we get to keep the General Chow chicken?
Nope. They
Oh,
might
Are
have
you
to
sure,
stay.
Wani? Are you
Yep.
sure?
everybody loves General So's chicken.
You can't have any more egg rolls
Yeah,
or
but
any.
some of that stuff they say they created, did they really create?
I think so, or they make American versions of it just for the American public. I heard that some of the things that are known for Chinese food, they don't really have them over there. I didn't eat over there when I went because I was warned not to.
Yeah, it drives me absolutely nuts, ladies and gentlemen, to hear that babble about the Chinese building the railroads. I don't know where that's coming from. It's not true. Foundational Black Americans were forced to build the railroads. The Chinese came into the railroad system later on, and I forgot the percentage of railroads that the Chinese built. It's fractional.
700 miles that they weren't even the only workers on it, and it wasn't even a complete track.
Right. And keep in mind that they got paid to do so. So they don't count, it don't count in my opinion. They were just doing a fucking job. You know what I'm saying? Whereas we were the foundation of it. We were forced to do it. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
wait a minute. We won't be able to have kung fu. Oh, the Chinese people have to stay because we got to have kung fu fighting. Remember that whole era?
Is it essential?
Okay.
Everybody was kung fu fighting, remember?
I took Kung Fu once.
Barry
She was
Gordy's
making
Last Dragon is
she's doing
essential.
a song.
Nope, they have to stay because of all the butt kickings and the martial arts training. Nope.
What's on your
Well,
mind? Okay.
you see the way they are with K Dot and break dancing. How you know that they made that up for on their own?
Well,
It's so much stuff.
they didn't. There's a lot of martial arts poses on the hieroglyphics. Yeah, they definitely have martial arts on the hieroglyphics.
I have seen some metanet. That's what it's called. Metanet or hieroglyphics is the official academic canon, but
Hmm.
I'm not going to engage in that. But to quote I want to, but you know what? I'm not going to do it. But like Wani said, I have seen martial arts on those hieroglyphics. So it makes you wonder: did we create martial arts?
Well,
Um,
they have all of the Olympic sports on. It's crazy, but they had a form of Olympics, and it was in the
wow,
same. It was done the same way as the Greek people. It's more like a festival, and yeah, I can look it up right now.
that's crazy.
Call on one of the speakers. I'll look it up now.
I saw housing, then ether, and then rob the whip. So go ahead, housing.
Hey, Professor. Hi, everybody doing?
What's
Wani,
going on,
Nikki,
brother?
Ma. It wasn't 700. It was 690.
Ew.
Wow.
Yeah, we're gonna do exact numbers with them.
Let's
and it
do
was
it.
on and it was on the West Coast.
Yeah, I
We
knew it was the
talked
West
about it
Coast.
recently.
Right.
Yeah, they wasn't on the East Coast, and they didn't do it alone. There was a small fraction because when I asked Meta about it, at first Meta said, yes, they played a vital role," which was a lie. So I fed Meta again another question. I said, "That's not the." I said it wasn't true. Then Meta correct. You absolutely right. They played a small portion in building the railroads, and it was on the west. And it wasn't 700; it was 690 miles. So cut the 700 out.
Thank you. I will.
I'll land my plane. I'll just listen. Oh, Professor,
Yes,
you
sir.
lose it when you said if we were deported, miss our culture.
Yes,
Yes, I
sir.
would miss my culture. Would you?
No, we're saying the other groups. We're
Oh, the
going through
other
the other
groups.
groups. But we just did Chinese people and we determined that we can't live without kung fu fighting and some of the food.
Right.
Anything else?
Uh, not off the
And we
hand. I
need
can.
Turkish people for tulips and malls. So
Oh, what I heard about Turkey is that if you into like knockoff goods, they say that's the best place to go.
they do have not good knockoff goods.
Yes, they said it's better than China's.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
I've
like they
never been
said.
to. I've
But the
never
thing
been to
about it,
Turkey.
the go ahead, talk.
No, I was just gonna say, Wani, didn't you speak fondly of Turkey?
Oh yeah, I had a good time. I don't like most girls, I don't go to the mall, but I did used to go to the mall, so I know a lot of people like the mall, so I won't kick the mall to the curb.
Hmm. Go ahead and land your plane.
Yeah, I had a brother. He Muslim brother, African brother. He's real cool. We used to go at it all the time, and he frequent Turkey,
Wow.
and he says the knockoffs over there are very, very good, high quality.
Hmm.
The thing is to get them over here, very expensive.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
land
they
my plane.
have yeah, they have a the bazaar culture, lots of goods, very nice craftsmanship. So the hieroglyphics, even though no one likes that word, shows athletic events. There's one in Memphis in the necropolis. They're shown throwing javelins, arching bows, running, pulling a tug of war ropes, and then in the Beni Hassan necropolis, they're shown doing gymnastics, martial arts, wrestling, and even hockey, some form of hitting something with a stick that's shaped like a hockey stick. They also had boxers squared up. They were rowing boats and they played various games with balls and sticks. And then they had a monument where it showed the rules, the referees' uniforms, and awards, and they gave a championship collar. So this was a very elaborate game. Um, and I guess the Greco-Roman Empire saw it. Greek Greeks probably saw it,
And
thought it
they
was a good idea.
and they played the rap song Rakim, Follow the Leader, I guess.
Yep. Okay,
Outstanding.
let's get to some of the hands because people have
Uh,
had their hands up.
Empress, you can
Ether
go.
was next.
Empress, it was Empress and Fire Nagi got on stage first.
Oh, okay. I thought Ether. Well,
Go ahead,
go ahead,
Empress.
Empress. I didn't see you.
Good evening,
Good
everybody.
evening.
Hello, Professor Alon and my gorgeous Nikki and Wani. How are you this evening? Professor, have you looked at your symbol that you added? That's your book you're sharing on Join Us or Die. Are you looking at the
Yeah.
symbol? You see what I just sent you?
Hold on one second. No, I didn't see it. You sent DM. Hold on. It sure enough is a snake, though. I think I know where you're gonna go with this.
Now, always know that when I come in, I'm coming from the spiritual aspect, and then I'm going to put it in the street aspect. So you always know what to expect. Fair enough?
Well, yeah, got it. So I didn't. I looked at my DM. I didn't see. I didn't see a DM from you.
Yeah, I sent a message to you and say, look at the symbol, and it's ironic that you bringing this in, and this is perfect spiritual timing. I just love your gift, Professor. You were gifted to
I heard
teach,
that
and
before,
that is
but
something I want you to know that you're not only gifted because of your education, but spiritually, your journey is to enlighten, enhance, and improve mental and spiritual ideologies and change it to a better perspective. So I want to start out thanking you always. Every time I talk to you, I'll always thank you for that if nobody ever has. Now, when you look at that symbol of the snake is prophetic. It shows you your future for thousands of years ahead. It don't just go with the current. It shows you future that can go to 10,000 ahead of time. Now, what does that mean in layman time? Everybody all of a sudden want to keep talking about the black community has no value. You'll see them saying this in different chats within Wall Street Journal. I've heard them say on some of their live chats, but without us, they would lose everything. If at one time 70% of Black Americans that is able to afford to live in different countries of their choice, not just in the continent, but throughout the planet in general, this country would collapse in minutes because everything here, foundational Black American created, yet they'll never give credit. And when you listen at some of the chats, even with our beautiful brother Tariq, they'll say, well, these inventions was already here. You just added just a few little tableware to it, diminishing the quality and the talent that we have contributed. And I would say there has been no nationality outside of foundational Black Americans that have contributed the most to the United States and other countries. And how do we know that? Let's go into deep history. When you go over in Europe and you go over in Germany, Italy, France, Sweden, the Netherlands, all of these people have artifacts that they have stolen. They have no culture that creates their own, so they don't have to go to other people's lands and steal from them and then give the most disrespectful response. Still in 2025, we know how to take and better preserve it in our libraries. What you have stolen from the continent.
Sister Empress, I think she
Africa.
broke up. Is she breaking up to y'all?
Yes.
Okay, Empress. You might need to move around a bit. You broke up. You in the Matrix, love.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you
Can you
good
hear me
now.
better?
Don't move. Yes, ma'am. Wherever you are,
No,
don't move around.
I'd be walking. I'm sorry about that. So
It's
without
all
our
good.
contributions, it could be nothing. The only group I would say maybe have contributed a great portion, but not to the level of foundational, is Native Americans. Specifically, with those that would have been, say, within the Michigan, Minnesota, New York, Illinois, Kansas, Texas, Oklahoma, California region, when you go into things that they had invented, that they were doing, that white Americans is using that, and they'll give them their contribution gladly, but then steal it, in other words. So the bottom line is there is no culture that I've ever seen, even in researching myself in history, no other culture can compare to foundational Black Americans. But I don't understand, why is it such a deep hatred to give credit where credit is due? Everybody loves to steal from us, borrow our ways, our mannerisms, don't give you credit. But every time you up and want to leave this country, you'll create laws to prevent it. Professor, do you remember during the wartime? Correct me if I'm wrong. There was a war, if I'm not mistaken, where a mass majority wanted to go and help. Was it Egypt fight many Black Americans in the 1930s,
Ethiopia.
and they were denied?
Yes.
Ethiopia, okay, and the United States started denying Black Americans to leave,
Yep.
and notice that they started preventing you from leaving. And I also want to add, while it's on my mind, Professor, I'd like to add, the next time that gentleman that's from Michigan that says he's a state rep
Hmm.
comes in, I would love for you to re-pull me back, because I would like to approach him professionally when he has said he wants to work with different platforms. He's open for different things. Let me say this, and I'm going to land my plane. If he was really interested in helping here in Michigan, there was a young lady on Tuesday that lost her children. They froze to death. She had been trying to get help from the shelters, her family, the children's father, and his side of the family. They all turned her down. This man is here in Michigan. He could introduce a bill to make it illegal for shelters during the month of October up through May, and turning down women with children and women in general. We have many resources, but they will not use it. I speak on this myself, my aunt, my cousin, with Detroit City Council Tuesday through Thursday every week, and these people will not do nothing. That's why I'm not for any elected parties. But the next time he's on space, I would love for you to re-bring me up so I can have a Michigan heart to heart talk, and then I'll be able to name all the different senators off the top of my head. Show him how he's telling a lie. When he came into your space, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that was Thursday, and he says he's been listening for some time. He just wants to try to help out. He's telling a barefaced lie, and I got the facts to show it. Since I'm already here in Michigan, he won't be able to play that, because if you're not here, you don't know what we know. And I'll land my plane. Have a good evening, everybody. Stay blessed. It's cold as hell out. I don't know where y'all at, but it's freezing. It's 19 degrees
It's
here.
Oh,
pretty.
that ain't nothing compared to Milwaukee, girl. That ain't
Um,
nothing.
I just
Well, it's dropping down next week, 1 to 2 degrees. That's why, you know, we are getting ready to protest because this young lady lost her children in a casino parking lot. And this casino makes billions of dollars. And the fact that it was lost
we need to
innocent
get back
blood,
on
that's off.
track.
But nevertheless, I'm gone. People don't care nothing about that. But
I
you all
do
have a good
care
evening.
about it.
Yeah, yeah, it's real important. But sometimes when we get off topic, it's like our spaces try to stick on top, and I do it too, Empress. If we get off topic, it's hard to bounce back sometimes. But
So I just wanted to say we'll talk about Native Americans and what they did in America when we get to that point.
right, 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 right. So we're gonna go to our next speaker is I think it was Fire Nagy had already came up, Nikki. We're gonna go to Ether and then Rob the Whip. But before we go to Ether, Wani, what's our next group?
Well, I just wanted to review that we were kind of on the fence with China because of the food and the Kung Fu fighting era. It's not a lot because they, put themselves in Chinatown and don't really engage. So it's just not a lot of contribution to the culture. We didn't cover Japanese people like anime and karaoke. That has impacted the culture. So,
Yeah,
but
you want to go with Japanese? I'm gonna have to defend Japanese and say Japanese culture would be missed. Uh,
because people like karaoke and anime,
People like Japanese cars, man.
sushi.
Japanese the sports cars, man. Nissan, Honda, like the Japanese have made some badass cars now. They changed car culture. Before
Okay.
Japanese, the sports car culture was American muscle, which was built on the ideology of having a big old a big engine, high horsepower, big engine. The Japanese took it a whole nother way, and they said we're going to make a really light car with a small engine that achieves the same speeds. So the Japanese have been very creative, and like you said, culturally, with respect to anime and the like, and sushi, but I'm gonna take
Mhm.
it a step further and say the Japanese engineers have been very creative in creating cars, and creating,
What
pushing the.
about electronics?
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
forgot.
yeah. Sony. Yeah, the electronics, um, engineering. The Japanese are critical to American culture, well, recent American culture. So I'm gonna say the Japanese would definitely be missed.
Okay, and so we weren't able to get anything for India yet.
So I have a
Turkey.
quick question. I have a quick question. Are we talking about the Japanese within the geopolitical borders of the United States or Japan itself?
Um, that's a good question. Are we being influenced because of globalism, or are they actually here with karaoke bars? That's a good question.
Yeah, because I thought we were talking about who could we deport and
Yes,
miss.
see, this is basically recent stuff that we like. It's not foundational stuff. So, yeah, we're kind of drifting off topic with foundational things.
Yeah. So
Wani, Nikki, Professor, I don't mean to interrupt, but I got some information for you guys. I don't know if you guys caught it or recognized it, but I was on the space with you guys, and y'all had two white supremacist ops.
hold that thought, because you kind of Esther was next up. I want to know what you got to say, but we're gonna go with. I said Esther. I meant Ether. Ether was next up, on the list.
Can you email me, Lemuel?
Yeah, DM
Uh,
it to Wani, bro.
yeah, the guy was named Brad, and the other guy was named the Shark. The one that talks with the deep voice. He was on Flex video denigrating us and calling us ghetto beggars, and saying a whole bunch of racist stuff to us. And you was talking to the guy, and
Hold
you
on.
said,
Okay.
We're gonna go with Ether, and we'll come back to you. Hold that thought. Ether, what are your thoughts? But first, I want to clarify something. That was Fire Nagy and Wani. Damn, that's a good point. We need a point of clarification. Are we talking about culture from the beginning, from early America, or we because
Yeah, we are, but we can also discuss recent culture that we like now. But
I'm
yeah, we are talking about formative culture.
I'm still gonna somehow say Japanese will be missed. I'm gonna say
I think
that.
you had a Japanese girlfriend.
No, I'm not talking about any of that stuff. Ether, what's on your mind?
How y'all doing tonight?
What's up, brother?
What's up? I want to go ahead and will apply to the Turkish and the Indian. Just a flat out no. Uh, don't care about malls, and I don't delve in Indian cuisines or anything. I see Indians at liquor stores and corner stores, and I think we can do without those. In my opinion.
I
Uh,
agree.
yeah, yeah. I,
I
they
agree
don't
too,
really,
bro.
they don't really give us any essentials that we need. Um, when it comes to Chinese culture, the last time I ate any of their food, I threw up, and that was years ago. So I don't even eat Chinese food anymore. Um, I don't care. I don't care for egg rolls or nothing like that. As far as their movies, um, Jackie Chan will be missed. Okay, I will miss him. If we can keep Jackie Chan in those Rush Hour movies, that'll be great. I would definitely make an exception for him. Um, but as far as kung fu, as a culture and everything like that, I really don't think we need it because we're already best fighters in the world, anyways. We were the best fighters before we even heard about kung fu, or any of their martial arts styles.
What
Or
about Godzilla? You like Godzilla?
well, that's Japanese, and actually, no, I
Oh, I
don't.
forgot. We got to put the Japanese people. We got to give them.
Well,
They're racking up a lot.
well,
Japanese people are racking up a lot of points over here.
Japanese have done a lot. They've influenced me. Like when I was growing up, I was born in 1990, so um, don't blame me. But when I used to watch Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z growing up, and I just thought it was another cartoon, and I didn't realize it was an anime until I got older. And I start seeing people having these anime weekends and these conventions where they dress up as their favorite characters and stuff. And I feel like that's something that has influenced us a lot. Um, as far as like samurai culture now, something about me. I am a martial arts instructor, so and Japanese martial arts, karate, kempo, samurai art. Those things are part of the style that I teach. So, if me personally, yeah, I wouldn't, I would miss Japanese culture. I would. Um, that's not to say that, we don't, we need it because there's other fighting styles out there, other self defense styles. When it comes to like kung fu, uh, if I had to choose between a school of Shaolin monks and some young brothers from Compton, I'm gonna go with Compton all day. So it's a no brainer. But yeah, I think Japanese culture will be missed. There's sushis.
Can
Um,
I add on to something you just said that's very important, Ether?
yes,
Uh,
sir.
you said you would choose the brothers in Compton over that kung fu and martial art. Well, what I want to add on to it is something I learned from some Army Special Forces guys. Special Forces trains in we call it CQB, close quarter combat, quote close
Yes.
quarter battle CQB. But anyway, they're trained with jujitsu and they're heavily martial artists. And they have a saying that when you get in a fight with somebody, all the technique goes out the window if the person is bigger than you. So what Ether was saying is basically what I heard you say is I'd rather have a brother out the hood, you know what I'm saying, and all this technique because it looked pretty. But if somebody bigger than you, they'll beat the shit out you while you looking pretty. You know what I'm saying? So it's real talk.
Yeah, yeah, man. Size does matter in a fight. Strength does matter in a fight. There's really no way of getting around it. Ask the sumo wrestlers over there in Japan. They're looked at as deities to people over there because of their size and their strength. And it's like sometimes no amount of technique can really get through somebody like that. But if being out there in the streets, yeah, technique goes out the window or the technique stays with you. Depends on your training. But out there in the street is where you really learn how to fight. It's not pretty. Kung fu nowadays is real like capitalized. It's really just for show for the most part because you'll go online and you'll see a kung fu master going up against like a boxer or MMA fighter and just get thrashed. It's just making them look bad. So it's really more for gimmicks nowadays. But yeah, as far as Japanese culture, what they have brought to the United States, also Chinese, kung fu movies, um, that really influenced like the black exploitation type of stuff that people before I was born, people used to watch. So I guess me, being born in '90s and everything like that, well, I wouldn't miss it much to be honest with you. As far as Chinese culture, Japanese culture, yes, it would be missed to me. Yeah.
My
What about
dad had a ton of
crouching? Oh, go ahead.
my dad had a ton of Chinese films growing up, man. We watched them all. Bruce Lee, Bruce Lee. I saw them all, man. I'm telling you.
Don't forget Black Belt Jones, Jim Kelly,
Yeah, we
Thank
were,
you.
everybody was kung fu fighting. That was a whole era of black men kicking butt.
42nd Street, the doo wop.
Yeah, and I think we ended up kind of outshowing the Chinese at their own art form, and that's why they don't really put us in their Chinese films like that
Yeah.
because we kind
There
of
was a rumor that somebody beat up Bruce Lee and they tried to smother that and, hide it. And yeah, they lost their minds.
I think it was Jim
They
Kelly,
really
wasn't
did. Jim Kelly beat him up and he
Wow.
didn't want to talk about it anymore. Now, I wanted to go back to Turkey. Uh, I'm going to throw in a belly dancing and some whirling dervishes. They stay or go.
Go pass.
Wine.
We don't do belly dancing here, and we don't do whirling dervishes, so I guess they don't have anything to do with American culture.
I'm trying to imagine a Turkish woman at Magic City in Atlanta belly dancing.
Oh boy, they're funny. Okay, Rob, what's up?
What's happening, everybody? How's everybody feeling, man? Before I get started, Professor, I sent you some shit. Did you get it the other day?
Actually, no. I've been kind of out of. I had a real long day yesterday. But hold on, let me check right quick.
Uh, all right. While he doing that, y'all in my neck of the woods now. As a lifetime martial artist and the owner of a mixed martial arts academy, who has professional fighters and amateur fighters that compete in the cage and in the boxing ring. If you look at my profile, y'all see all my fighters, well, a few of them anyway, and how I travel the country and all over the place, getting fights for my boxers. We was just on the zone, and stuff like that, Cagezilla, stuff like that. I am a second degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Been doing that for 20 years. I'm a 50 degree black belt in karate and kickboxing. And I'm a master boxer. I've been boxing since I was 7 years old. I'm 53 now. So there's a difference between fighting and a fighter in a martial arts guy. Because if you're not sparring and putting this stuff into practice at least 2 to 3 days a week, you're not proficient in your art. A lot of that stuff is just for exercise to keep people busy, but there's a big difference between practicing martial arts and fighting. Big difference. So I'm gonna lay that aside. Aside from that, we cannot let go of Chinese people. I grew up with Bruce Lee. That's one of my one of my heroes. Japanese, they got to stay because of anime, like everybody was saying, in the cars. Toyotas and Hondas to join. What else? Gotta like Wani, don't get mad at me because I'm jumping ahead. Gotta keep the French because French is got French background. So I'm a huge Prince fan. They can't go nowhere. Without them, he wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have got that. And yeah, Chinese food, we gotta keep that too, because I like fried rice, goddamn. So yeah, that's all I got to say.
Thank
Yeah,
you. I
very powerful.
love your entry.
Yeah.
Now, let me see. So now I'm going to go back a bit. I found some more ammunition to keep India in the country. Eastern
I gotta
religions,
hear this.
meditation, and yoga. If
Oh,
we take them
yoga.
out of the country, white women won't have anything to do. All of the yoga pants will disappear. That could crash the economy would go down in flames.
Yeah, they
Wani,
got to stay, Wani. Yoga
Wa-
pants and hot yoga's the shit. They got to stay.
Wani said, "Yoga pants, y'all. I'm sorry, but I gotta vote India back in."
Absolutely.
They'll have things to do. School board meetings, right?
Wanda, can I add something on Japan?
Yes.
The Shogun, the newest one they made, I loved it.
Yep, I love all those
The newest one, I loved
Asian
it.
films,
And I
Crouching
was I
Tiger.
and I asked well, I Googled to see if it was gonna be two. And they said no. They just took it from the end of the book. The
Now, see
Shogun
that
book.
movie, The Ring, that did influence our culture. Remember?
Scared the
Wasn't
living
that a
shit out of
Japanese?
me.
That
I
was a Japanese movie, but
I
they
watched
Americanized it.
Wani. That was my freshman year in college, and everybody was going somewhere for the weekend. I stayed at home and watched that shit
What
Alone?
alone. I got
Oh,
it
you're
at.
worse than me.
Let me tell you how long ago it was. I rented it at Blockbuster Video. That's
What?
yes, ma'am. And I put that shit in there. Everybody, the ring, watch the ring. I watched that shit by myself. That was a big mistake.
how long
Well,
it
we
take you to
still
recover?
we
I didn't.
still haven't recovered.
Nope.
Now, we haven't come up, and the Arabs have to have contributed something that we like. Okay, they didn't have anything to do with the foundation, but somebody's got to come up here and tell us what they did besides blowing us arms off when we have marathons and blowing down 9/11. Blowing up stuff can't be the only contribution.
Hookahs. Did they have the
That's what they
Nation
brought
of
hookahs.
Islam?
Hookah bars. Hookah bars. Okay, let me write that down.
Casey,
Hookahs actually rock. Hookah rocks.
Casey Kasem in Michigan.
Okay, Casey Kasem, that girl in hookahs.
Hummus dip.
I don't know. That's
It may be
kind of
Greek. I
got a
don't know.
different. I don't want to misattribute it.
I got a question. Did they
Yes.
influence
I
the
changed the
Nation of
hookahs
Islam?
part.
Hold on, hold on, hold on. Let me think.
The cinnamon long grain rice they make.
Let me think real quick. Um, no, that guy was not Arab.
Hmm. Okay.
That founder was not Arab. Um, he spoke Urdu, which is either Pakistani or some Afghani people speak that language. So he's one of those. And he immigrated from New Zealand,
Professor,
but he's
I
not
tried.
from New
Yes,
Zealand.
sir.
is Master Splinter Japanese?
I think he was.
Yeah, we might have to keep the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles here.
Yeah, Ninja Turtles are important. Very important.
The 808 beats and the modern turntable they use, that also came from Japan as well.
Damn. Like I said, the Japanese ain't going nowhere, in my opinion.
Uh,
They don't say no crazy shit about us anyway, so I'm cool with them. It's just it be the Chinese that be tripping sometimes.
well, the Chinese got tea.
That's Japan
Tea?
too. Yeah, that's Japan too. They best at tea. They more better at it than China is.
Oh yeah, they are. Their tea is like, ooh.
Yeah, that's how China fell. Um, China started operating with the English, and the English started trading gold for tea because the English loved the Chinese tea, and the Chinese, at a certain point, the English royalty realized that a lot of their gold was being sucked up by the Chinese economy, and they asked for it back. The Chinese wouldn't give it back, so the British start putting opium in the fucking opium. That's heroin, basically, in the tea, and came up with this diabolical plan to get the Chinese hooked on opium. No shit, and it worked. and the British took over China because they all were strung out on fucking heroin, basically strung out on. But just think of how diabolical it. Why does anybody trust the English? Why do people still trust these people? Every time I hear an English accent in our spaces, like I want to kick them off. I don't trust them. They're villains. But
It's
anyway, I
starting
digress.
to happen now, though. It's starting to slowly happen now that it seemed like the other people of color are starting to kind of realize how treacherous Europeans are. So it's definitely happening now, but it probably might really take effect like probably close to 2040, probably 2035. I say a few more decades, and you really gonna start to see the backlash of Europeans around the world.
So
That's
Mm.
my
Hey,
2 cents
Emmanuel,
on
Professor,
it.
did you
but
you check your box? Did you get it? You see what I sent you?
Hold on one second, bro.
Lemanuel, did you want to come up and tell us who these people are that we were
Uh,
speaking about? Yes, we were giving them a chance yesterday, right? You said,
yeah,
or the day before
yeah,
yesterday.
the day before yesterday. Yes, I was going
Got it.
crazy trying to get you, Professor, and you guys' attention because I remembered the guy's voice when was in the
The
space
one
with
with the deep voice that had all the God references on his timeline.
yeah, he is cold white
Yeah.
supremacist op, and
Go ahead.
Brad is also.
I wish
Yeah,
you would, if I wish you knew their, what you call it, so I could just block them so I don't have to deal with
Yeah,
them.
let me know who they are so we can block
That
them.
was the one talking about he works in Michigan and we sat there and let him say his piece.
Oh, him. Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
so
and Wanda, you kept me at bay
I
too.
did. That's
Y-
right. Don't
yeah, I
scream
wanted
on the
to get
stage.
at him.
No, I wanted to
yes,
hear what he was saying.
I
I
could
didn't
find
want
them.
to
He got a
troll.
video just like man denigrating all of us. Like man,
I
it's something
didn't feel
cold.
like trolling. I wanted to hear what he was saying.
And I guess
Um,
I
Professor gave him some information to follow him or something like that,
I
But
did.
yeah, yeah, he's a op though.
okay, let me
Wow.
find him. I might be following him. I don't remember if I followed him.
Yes, that's
I
all I
was
wanted
gonna
to let you
ask
guys
about
know.
the Polynesian culture, but they're considered black, so never mind. Well, they're
No,
not black, but
we're gonna
they're
get to them. Just yeah,
oh, all right.
let's get to them right now. Australian people don't really immigrate over here, but we do know about boomerangs and didgeridoos. We just don't use boomerangs and didgeridoos. We may like them.
What's
However,
didgeridoo, Wani?
huh?
What is that?
It's like a long horn
Oh,
It's
that they
like a
blow.
curved stick that they oh yeah. Now I know you talk about the instrument they use.
Yeah, the boomerang is the curved thing that
I know what that is. Yes.
they take, they hunt with it and it comes
I
back
don't
to
hear
them.
much about them though. Like they don't really be online like that. They're kind
No,
of
they don't.
yeah, like they kind of deserted a little bit. They're not bad though. Each time I see them, they cool. It's just you don't hear that much about them. They're too busy. Like they got a lot of shit going on in their country with them
They
white folks
don't
fucking them
immigrate
over.
over here that much, and
Yeah.
no, they don't have anything to do with uh American culture per se.
Every time you see them, they getting beat up by the kangaroo.
The
I
the
feel bad for
natives,
them low key though, like
Huh?
'cause them white folks be punking them on their own land like crazy.
I
okay,
heard
Kangaroos
the
are
that too.
cold, man.
They be
hold on, the
boxing them.
natives are getting beat up because I only see the kangaroos beating up white men aged 30 to 50.
Me
Yeah,
too.
Nah,
they
they
talk
get
about
they get
that to
they
Australians, right?
they fuck the
They
Aboriginals up over there, man. They like
what?
Yeah, they really do. And they
Aboriginal
What?
ban
people are
them
like
from
second class citizens over there. Like they
Oh,
yeah, they treat them
absolutely.
like
Wait a
shit in
man,
minute.
Australia. Yeah, they
I'm
treat them
talking
bad.
about the kangaroos, not the people. Somebody said the kangaroos were
Yeah, that
beating
was
up.
me. One. It was just one. It was a couple of them, but one of them where the dog was acting up and he started beating the dog, and the owner had to go. So the kangaroo was boxing the owner, like literally boxing him.
Yeah, they love to box and they like
Yes.
to
That's what
beat
them
up
things are
people's
fucking
dogs
buff.
too.
I didn't realize how buff them things were.
Oh,
Like
they're
it's not
real
even
buff.
like
They work out.
Debo build.
Yeah, I seen a cut up kangaroo on Twitter.
And listen,
Yeah,
they
I'm like,
had
no.
Mr. I mean, Professor. Just recently, he was on my timeline. This fat, chubby white Australian was fighting a kangaroo. He was running. The kangaroo was chasing him down, locked him up, hitting him with two pieces.
Do
Is
you
that
know
the one where
what the
he hit him
word
with a
kangaroo
stick?
means, though? I don't mean to
No.
No.
jump in, but do you know what it means, though? It don't mean an animal. The word kangaroo really means I don't understand in Australian native language. It's just the white people was asking what was the animals that was jumping around, and they said kangaroo, which mean in their native tongue, I don't understand. So that's what they've been calling them animals ever since.
So what is the
Kangaroo.
proper name?
Oh, that's
I
white
don't
boy
know.
stuff.
Yeah, like yeah, like I didn't get the name, but
Hold
that's
on.
what
Let
I
me
heard.
let me
Like,
look
cause they were
that up. Let
talking
me look
about that.
that
I'm
up.
like, what? Yeah,
Well,
that's what
whoever
that word
made those
means. I don't
guys has a very
understand.
good sense of humor because that's one of the funniest looking at. I mean, I would literally get beat up and laugh at the same time if that animal beat me up.
I couldn't visit Australia though. It's too many poisonous animals there. It's too many
I heard it's
poisonous
Yes,
some
it
snakes.
is.
gigantic spiders up in there.
They
Yup.
have too
Yes.
much going
One
on. You
bite and
pass
you are
by a
fucked.
damn hedge and
Wow.
all kinds of things are moving in the hedge. And you're like, what is
I'll
that?
call the cops in my hotel room if I see a spider web in my shit
Hey
They be
every
Juan,
doing it.
day.
Yep.
hey Juan,
Like,
hey them kangaroos you
Yes,
talking about? Them shits is vicious. Their claws on their
they
feet, they will
are.
shred you. Like they'll stand on their tail and kick
Hmm.
with their bottom feet. Their claws are like razors, man. They shred you, cut you, embowel you, disembowel you, man. Them things are deadly.
Yep.
oh, it's a bird just like that too.
I
They
always thought
The
they were
emu.
harmless.
The emu.
nah,
Them
they'll
kangaroos
kick you
mean
and
as
cave
hell,
your
man.
chest in. They'll cave your chest in. That one good kick to your chest is over.
That's still a wild animal, man. Them things are mean.
All right. Imagine a sledgehammer hitting your chest. That's how a kangaroo feet is when he kicks you.
Oh yeah, you don't want to
Yeah,
get close to the
exactly.
feet.
That part. Things will fuck
Wow.
your ass up for real.
So Polynesian culture, we are not really influenced by native or aboriginal people because they don't immigrate here and they're not part of the founding of
They
America.
definitely influenced by us though.
Yeah,
Hawaiians and New Zealanders, they do our music, they dress and talk like us and everything.
but we're
But
talking about their influence on our culture. What is the Polynesian influence on our culture? The rock?
yeah, yeah, they don't really have an influence.
Or they dig in the sand and put that long grate there and cook the pig. That that I don't eat.
The Rock's
But our
dad is
people
black.
kind of did that. Like, yeah, our people kind of did that. And they're considered like black too. Because if you look at the old pictures of Coming High, those were black people. Not all black, but those were definitely like Saharan African people. Like it's just now they've been gentrified. They've been mixed up with so much different shit that, they don't look like how their ancestors looked back in the day. But they killed Sam Cooke, so they let you know they wasn't no bitches. They killed his ass, and he was the one that discovered Australia. They chopped his ass up. The man, women, and children killed his ass. And then he got off the ship trying to pull
Captain
rank.
Cook, you mean?
Yeah, yeah, John Cook or whatever they call him. He discovered Australia. They chopped his ass up. The Hawaiians, they fucked him up. He tried to talk that shit to them, boy. They butchered his ass. The men, women, and children butchered him.
Okay, any part of Polynesian culture we can't live without: hula dancing, fire
I forgot about
dancing,
that.
quick hip movements, roasted pigs, luau.
Pineapples.
Well, we did roasted pigs. That's why. I mean, we kind of had something like that
Well,
over here already. And
yeah,
this food,
nobody
not
can
all that.
claim roasting.
Yeah,
I don't think we go out of our way to get Polynesian food, so
yeah, their
let's
food not good.
move.
Pineapples.
I tasted their food. Their food is not good. That's a fruit. They didn't necessarily make it
Yeah,
like, but
that's a fruit.
yeah, but their food is
Now,
not good. I went to Hawaii. I went to Maui, and their food is not good. I was disappointed.
okay, well, yeah, there's no Polynesian restaurant on the corner where we live or you live. So obviously, something's going on. Now let's go to
Cool people though. I
Native
never.
Americans. Let's talk about what Native Americans have done to influence. I was told that they had the culture of smoking tobacco when a child was born, and somehow that got to be part of the culture, smoking a cigar when you have a child.
Yeah, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing talks about that. She said that has to do with black penis envy, and she gets really deep on that. And she says that mm, think of a way to kind of sanitize it. She says that when the Europeans bumped into the Moors, they saw these tall, powerful figures, and their women were choosing up on them, basically choosing up on the Moors as opposed to Europeans. But Dr. Frances Cress Welsing had a beautiful article where she talks about that black leather coat. If you look back at the Nazis, the commanding officers, the field grade officers, which is 04 major and above. I don't know what that rank is in the German, but field marshal, marshal is a general. They get these jet black coats made by Hugo Boss. By the way, did y'all know that Hugo Boss was made for the Nazis, and they sell
I
it?
heard that.
Yeah, if they sell that shit in the mall, it blows my mind. I see black people buying like shirts from Hugo Boss. I want to run up and say
So is the
no.
Adidas. So is the Adidas.
Right.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
found a lot of them were
Yeah, BMW, and so is a
Yup.
Mercedes Benz.
Like the bug car, like the little bug
Volkswagens,
car. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of
Yeah.
shit came from them. I didn't know.
the
If
people's car. I like all of their cars, so I'm not a good
Volkswagen is a
person.
good car.
IQ also came from them too. I think the IQ thing that came from the Nazis too. The IQ.
Yeah, if you look, somebody mentioned BMW. I used to have an M2. That was a very fast and dangerous ass car. Me and my lady was just talking about that. But if you look at the little BMW sign with the little, has like the squares on it, that's a propeller. That's supposed to be a propeller moving because the BMW made engines for the ME 109 Messerschmitt and the Focke Wolf, the airplanes that shot down a lot of Allied, a lot of U.S. pilots. But yeah, they made y'all are right. They made engines for those planes, you know. Um, but
Where did
They
they
also
get the
made up
technique for?
IQ
Because
too.
they got the best, one of the best engines in the world.
oh, now you okay? All right, you want to know? Let's go there. So then this is kind of off topic, but I'll touch on it real quickly. During World War One was fought over the theft of Africa. And long story short, before I derail the room, the Germans went looking, stumbled upon technology in Egypt, and as the saying goes, they reverse engineered stuff that they found that was there already. So the real question is, why is there high tech technology in Egypt? Where did it come from? But that's a whole nother space. Like the kids say,
Got you,
yup.
Professor.
So now the Native Americans were against the notion of America and didn't want it to happen at all. And they don't have any kind of input. So they haven't produced all these sports legends. I think they have one, Jim Thorpe. They have not produced food or cuisine. They did not participate in civil rights the way that they should have, considering that they needed the benefit of civil rights. They weren't as high profile as they should be because they were being anti black and didn't want to be associated with it. They just wanted their piece of the pie. Um, so, what, you know, they didn't produce any dances that we do. They have their dance that they've been doing for however long. They have not produced any music that we listen to, no music genres,
One
um,
movie, Wani.
inventions, or what about Billy Jack?
I was about to say that. Yes,
Oh, yeah, that's
yes,
it.
yes. He had a couple.
Popcorn,
How many did he
popcorn.
have? How many movies did he have?
A lot.
Yes, he was me. He used to be in the movies. We used to watch. We used to go watch him when we was kids.
Me too.
Yes,
Interesting.
yeah.
All right, what's our next country on the list?
Okay, we're moving on down the list. I
White
think I
people.
want to.
Like how about the Europeans? Have
Whoa,
we
whoa,
got to
whoa,
them?
whoa,
Hold on,
whoa.
hold on, hold on. Different. We're
Oh,
going to.
all right. Let's hop in the gun. Got you.
Yeah. What were we saying? One.
Yes. We're getting very close to these European groups. Let's see if I want to do them last. Let me see.
Wani,
Shoot.
can we backtrack to Polynesia for 1 minute?
How about the
Yes.
Mexicans?
All right. We got to get rid of them.
Hmm.
Because remember, listen, you remember the talk show host Don Ho?
Yeah, I do remember
He
that
was
name.
racist. He didn't like black
Of
people.
course.
Yes, so we done with them.
Well, I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to fight you, dude, because Polynesian sauce at Chick-fil-A is the motherfucking bomb.
That's not worth it. You know
Say,
Well,
what?
say
he
that
was
again.
an asshole. He don't speak for all of them because I've been to
Ain't
Mali
nobody
places.
keeping them over
There's
some
only no few
sauce.
Samoans and Hawaiians. A lot of them, they're heavily influenced by us. A lot of them don't be talking that crazy shit. He's just a special case. He was a bitch. I know, like you said, that talk show host. Yeah, he don't represent the Polynesians. He's just a
Just
white
listen.
supremacist.
This is my theory, right? I always have this thing like all groups have their bad apples, and none of the good apples check the bad apples, so they all get it.
Right. Let's go to that's exactly where I what I
Can I ask a real quick
feel.
question, Wani?
I feel you
Yeah.
on that.
Can we do we amalgamate the Comanche, the Arapaho with Mexicans because that some of those were parts of Mexico before the Mexican American War.
Good point. And keep in mind, these words were created by Europeans. These tribal names.
Now let's go to South America. South Americans. What is it about South American culture that we just can't get enough of?
The
Pele,
Brazilian wax, yeah,
Pe-
that came from there.
BBLs,
Pele, Anderson
Their
Silva.
women, too, the women.
MMA and
Pele. Got
Brazilian
it.
MMA and Brazilian Jiu Jitsu.
Yeah, Brazilian
Yeah, the
Jiu-Jitsu and
zebra
Valley Tudo,
martial
yeah.
arts. Yeah,
Hmm.
the zebra art, the kicking zebra as they call it.
Capoeira, yeah, all that stuff, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, capoeira too.
I was just about to say that.
We need Brazil because if we have any ally in the diaspora, it's the Black Brazilians, and everybody else can go can screw them.
Now
they
these
had a
are
lot of rebel groups too in Brazil. Like how we had the Moors, they had a lot of that in their countries too. They had a lot of people who were fighting against, like the I forgot they're not the Spanish, but the Portuguese. So they were fighting against them like crazy too. It's a lot of stuff in their history where they were going in. So
We can
them
get rid of
Black
the
Brazilians,
Spanish-speaking South American countries, can't we?
yeah.
I just want to hear what is formative to our culture. I know Spanish people came over here and named a lot of things. We have a few Spanish style missions. Um,
I
they've
would say
tried to,
chocolate, but that came from the Olmecs. Chocolate.
yeah, because I don't want to mix up Spanish people in Spain with with South America. So let's stick to South America, the people down in South America. What have they done? Not the Spanish influence that we see here on
Like the
some of our.
Olmecs? Is that what you're trying to
No,
say, one? No?
no, the Olmecs didn't found the country.
Oh well, yeah.
Well, I would say probably without Anderson Silva, we probably wouldn't have had like so many of our guys, Black Americans in MMA. I think he kind of inspired them, but I don't know if we got a whole lot on them though.
What about Chipotle?
Chipotle,
The
Taco.
Brazilian booties, man.
Brazilian butt. Got it. Wrote
And
those down.
also, I guess the tanning, but that doesn't influence us. That's more for the European cats.
The
They
what?
were the tanning. I guess they have some type of tanning style, some type
Oh,
of
oh, I
tanning,
haven't
but
heard of it.
yeah, but it's not for us. That's for the white folks, so that don't count for us.
Any white people want to keep them in the country for tanning?
No,
Yeah, I'm good on that.
We're speaking for white people now. No. Come up
Mm.
and defend your suntans. Any
Suntan defenders, come on up. Grab a mic. Hop on.
Them women
any
down there
other
is fine though, man. I will say that.
any
There's some
other
beautiful women out there.
any other South American things that we can't do without. I think, oh, what's his name? Oh, I can't think of it.
I threw up chocolate, but like I said, that came from the
Pele.
Olmecs. They was the one who made that
It's
possible.
something in South America. They did cultivate chocolate. So we have to keep them because people want
Yeah,
chocolate.
and
So
corn.
the
How
I think
about
it was corn as well. They also cultivated corn.
They got a
how
lot
about
of it
rubber and latex?
in Cote d'Ivoire. Cote d'Ivoire has a lot of the world chocolate.
How about rubber and latex?
Yep,
Didn't they?
Ghana has a
rubber
lot of the
too. Yep,
chocolate too.
that's what them rubber trees. This it's that stuff that paralyzes you. Comes from a plant. They used to wipe their spears and arrows on it when they
Yeah.
shoot something to paralyze them. I
poison.
forgot what they call. It's not push.
Hmm.
I forgot what they called it, but that came from them. Well, it didn't necessarily came, but they was the one who discovered you can use that to paralyze shit.
Now, Dizzy Gillespie would argue that they need to stay because he used a lot of South American rhythms to create Latin jazz.
And cocaine, you can never get coke. Them pop it
Oh,
plants.
Lord.
Don't forget about cocaine, man.
Oh, my God.
That booger
Close the
sugar.
borders.
That
Close the
booger
Well,
borders.
sugar.
the
Booger
co-
sugar.
the coca
Circle the wagons.
That
the
booger
coca
sugar.
leaf is in Coca Cola and Pepsi.
Not now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it used to be.
they still use
No, you guys are on Coke again?
nah, they still use coke.
What the hell?
They don't have cocaine in it per se like they used to back in the day, but they still use coca leaves to process
Okay.
Coca Cola and Pepsi right now.
I
So it must
heard
be
that they
some
used a
flavor.
similar leaf that's not necessarily coca leaves, but it kind of had the same taste, but not the same effects. They said. But I don't know if that's true or not because they shit locked up. Coca Cola got their ingredients in a big ass vault in Georgia.
Yeah,
Hmm.
they stopped using coca leaves years ago, man. Once they found out people was getting addicted to their stuff, it's like illegal for them to do it.
Hmm. That's wild. Yeah, my granddad used to say Coca Cola had cocaine in it.
He was telling the
Yeah, it
truth.
definitely did. That's why it's called Coca-Cola.
And man took a sip
Wow.
and
Hint,
was like, hold
hint,
the fuck
hint.
up.
Remember Sigmund Freud was running around acting a fool, writing books about how everybody should be on cocaine. What an idiot.
Oh
We're
my
gonna get in his
God.
ass
Can you
tomorrow.
imagine
Yo,
that?
we got to get in his butt.
Boy,
His
that'll fuck up a
this
whole
man
nation.
this man completely took the whole world down and nobody noticed.
Yeah, we
Have
gotta address that. Hmm.
Have y'all heard the term cocaine crazy Negro? From like back in the 30s,
No.
they used to give black people that like worked in factories. They used to give them cocaine back when cocaine was legal, like in the 20s, the 30s, and the 1910s and the 1900s. But then they would turn around and say, "Oh, look at the cocaine crazy Negro. He did this, so he broke into here and he broke into there." But you giving it to him at work?
They used to have coke like that, just like average. Like they said that doctors and all them used to just take in the front, like them smoking a cigarette back in the early
They had
1950s.
jewelry and everything, a little cocaine snorting necklaces.
Yup, yup.
They were not playing around. They was
They were going in.
cocaine.
Well, it was an Italian doctor who isolated whatever enzyme or whatever it is to make cocaine in 1850. I don't know if he did it in Italy or if he did it in America or he did it in Brazil. So who could we really attribute it to?
Uh, you mean so we could go beat him up?
Well, yeah, I guess so.
You mean far as with is it South American? Is that what you trying to say?
Yeah, like is it South America? Because before
Yeah, it
they was just
is.
chewing the coca leaves. They was just chewing the coca leaves and then like making tea out of it. But this doctor supposedly had isolated whatever enzyme or whatever it is inside a coca leaf to make cocaine. He's supposedly done that in 1850, but I don't know what country he was in. I know he was Italian. I don't remember his name, but I definitely know he was Italian. I know it was 1850, but I don't know what country he was in when he did it.
Yeah. It still comes from them because because far as with that plant, it was inhabited in the Western world in South America. So
Well,
that's
yeah.
still considered, yeah, theirs. Like if it wasn't for that plant, they wouldn't even be able to do that. So it still falls under South America.
The guy name was Albert Newman. He was from Germany,
Oh,
1860.
figures.
It was a
Let
German
me
dude.
write this
Yep.
down. Oh my goodness. More dirt.
He was a chemist. First isolated cocaine from the coca leaves.
Well, they love They loved drugs anyway. They were using them all over the Nazis. So
Them be the main ones using all type of drugs as
they were
white people.
already.
Like we mainly have weed or something like that. We don't take all the different type of shit.
You should
They
have
be
saw what
young.
Hitler's doctor was prescribing. He was on steroids, methamphetamines,
You saw how
opiates,
he was talking in his speeches.
cocaine.
That man sounded like he was off that shit when he was talking.
Hey,
Relax.
Wani. Hey, Wani.
Yes, yes.
Check this out. I just read this just now. An assuming set of buildings in Maywood, New Jersey, less than 10 miles from Manhattan, holds a surprising secret. It might be arguably be called the cocaine capital of the United States. Here, a chemical company manufactures cocaine legally with a special permission from the U.S. government. All the service familiar companies are Coca-Cola. They actually do still use the coca leaf. They just extract all the cocaine out of it,
Yeah,
and
that's
the
what
cocaine
Sure,
is
I,
they
in New Jersey.
do.
yeah, they still use it, right? Yeah, they grow it there too,
Mm,
right?
mm, mm.
Yeah, man, that's just crazy.
Yeah, and Pepsi, I think Pepsi still grows it, or this company sells it to Pepsi too.
So
I
you
didn't read
saying
Yeah,
that.
if
I'm
you
just
drink,
saying, but
you
you can
said you
go rob
drink,
the Coca-Cola building and get a whole shitload of cocaine out of it.
and I was wrong. The Italian dude that I was mentioning, he first brought it to market and he put it in the wine.
Mm. Y'all ain't put coke in wine.
Yeah.
I want hey ladies and gentlemen, I just want to let y'all know that the space will be closing at 12:30 in 10 minutes. So we're gonna take a couple more speakers. If you want to
Now
speak,
we may not be
I
able
know that
to.
shit party was on point.
We're not going to be able to get through the list. So we can do part two where we talk about which Europeans are valuable to culture in America. We'll just do Europeans on their own. We pretty much covered everybody. Inuit people don't really have anything to do with the culture,
They made
and
sunglasses
but they we know about their culture, igloos and reindeer herding and stuff, but
and blue
it doesn't
cheese.
influence.
They helped Matthew
Mm,
Perry get to the North Pole.
Yes.
yeah.
Wait a minute. That was Sherpas, right?
No, the Inuits helped Matthew Perry get to the North Pole.
Oh.
Yeah, and the blue cheese and glasses. They was the
You
first one who
mean
made
you
sunglasses.
mean Matthew Henson, right?
Yeah, Matthew. I keep getting his name mixed up, but yeah, they helped him. He learned their language and they helped him. Of course, they didn't give him credit, but they knew he got there first because he could communicate with them.
And he was Taraji P. Henson's great grandfather.
didn't know that.
Oh,
we're going to touch on that tomorrow. Also, stay tuned in tomorrow because tomorrow we're going to talk about Sigmund Freud and how his ideology created all the his philosophies created all these ideologies that has just destroyed whole societies, including but not limited to the United States of fucking America. Wani, could you just go down the list of ideologies that were introduced by Sigmund Freud, a cokehead?
Oh my God. We're going to do it. We're going to do it tomorrow.
but
Let's
don't
cover
forget the Mad Hatter syndrome too that
the
they had when they had them Mercuries in them hats, them
the
top hats
dang
that Abraham Lincoln used to wear.
we'll
Mm.
go over the dangerous ideologies that spun from him. Um, you know, Sigmund Freud is from an area called Bohemia. He's Austrian, but the area is now uh, the Czech Republic. But he came from an area where it was near Bohemia, and Bohemia basically stands for like a counterculture, artsy area. So he got a lot of his ideas from this counterculture, which I didn't know because I'm looking at. I'm like Austria. That's not the Czech Republic. That's not Chechnya. So um, yeah, he got a lot of weird ideas and he brought them over here. And one of the biggest advertising men in the world was his nephew. Why was he the biggest advertising man in the world? Because he knew how to trick people into buying things they don't need by psychological manipulation.
Hell yeah. Freud learned that from Jung, and Carl Gustav Jung warned us that to beware of it. Carl, I'm paraphrasing Jung, but Jung said um always question what you want, and question, do you want it, or are you being programmed to want it?
Was that the guy who did the diamonds, like to tell you if you want to propose to your wife or something, you buy her a diamond ring? Is that who you're talking about?
That's Cecil Rose, I think.
Yeah, because he did that too. Because really, diamonds are useless. But
You absolutely useless.
yep, and they made it popular because it used to be like a house or a car, but he made people feel like you need to buy a
You
ring.
can't tell a woman that today.
Yeah,
That's part of their marketing. These people have been over here pushing these, keeping up with the Joneses ideas to keep people in debt. Everything that they push is something to make you miserable,
Yeah.
literally.
If you faced a divorce, whether personally or moreover your parents or grandparents got divorced, that was single house family households were pushed in the 70s, late 60s, early 70s, because they did studies to show that single women bought more stuff. First and foremost, a man and woman that don't live together are going to buy twice as many washing machines, twice as many refrigerators, right? But women who are single buy more, just do more impulsive spending. So they had a campaign, a fucking psychological warfare campaign, to keep all women, not just black women, but particularly black women, but to keep all women single so they could buy more shit. This shit's evil.
Exactly. And they had a something called, it was like campaign called Torches of Freedom. And they said, if you smoke these, hot stuff cigarettes, you'll be liberated. You'll be a feminist. You'll be able to take over the world. And they really sold women um, on the glamour of smoking cigarettes. And of course, they're responsible for so many people dying. This was done by Sigmund Freud's nephew, Edward Bernays. And yes, that was a campaign to get women to smoke because at the time women smoked, but they were hiding, like it was considered,
Taboo.
you know,
and that's why I don't vape
crude.
because vaping to me, like I'm not saying they ain't got nothing in it, but I do not trust that, especially when them kids' lungs start collapsing off them jewel vapes. What? That was like 5 years ago, like 5, 7 years ago. Kids' lungs.
Yeah,
What's the
so,
name? The famous singer died of lung cancer. She never smoked a day in her life.
well,
Oh,
yeah,
Minnie
sometimes it's
Riperton.
other things.
Donna
Minnie Riperton?
Summers.
Oh wow.
Donna?
Yeah.
Yeah, she
Okay,
did.
I was just going to say, so
Love to
this is
love me,
kind of
baby.
the very dangerous behavior that this man brought to this country. His ideas went right to another group that was chased out by the Nazis. So the Nazis were trying to chase out the sex change institutes, the sexology. Freud was a sexologist as well. And in fact, he was kind of criticized by other people in his field because he focused too much on sex.
And he,
So
he experimented sexually on his goddamn daughters.
So these Germanic ideologies that were brought over, they created more racism because, of course, they said that they were the master race, top of the hierarchy, and Aryan. So it wasn't just enough to be white. You had to be this mythical Aryan that doesn't exist. And so, what does that mean for other people that are not even that? That boosted up the racism wherever they went, and they institutionalized deviance. They hyped up pornography. They pushed feminism, which causes gender division. They pushed abortion is also something that Freud, people that believe what Freud believed, everything he believed was going against human nature, going against humans being alive. It was always some lowbrow entertainment, pushing people to be materialistic. Uh, hey, I mean, the pseudoscience, psychiatry has no cures. They have
Right.
no wins. And yes, they just keep pushing it and saying, oh, this is what you need to do. And they continue to have clinics and hospitals and everything else. And none of these things have cured anyone. And that's why we have a lot of people living on the streets right now, homeless people, people that never recovered from drugs, and on and on and on. And there is no cure for them except them charging for mental health that they can't provide.
Yeah, that where our mental health specialists learn the core premises of their practice from a goddamn coke monster, snorting booger sugar, as one of our brothers put it earlier. I stole that, by the way. I don't know who said booger sugar, but that shit belongs to me now. Uh, I
What
see a
about
new.
what
Go
about
ahead.
Rochester? Hit the rock, but don't smoke it.
Hit the rock, but don't smoke it.
That's what they say up there in Rochester. You
Man,
said
I
you
used
was
to.
up there, right?
Yeah, I lived in Greece, right? Yeah, it was Rochester, but the neighborhood called Greece.
Yeah.
I fuck with Rochester actually, but only reason I didn't stay there is because it just got too cold, man. But I like it. I like the culture. It's a really neat place. We're gonna go with Church. I think it's a new speaker, and Church will have last words. The Church, what's on your mind, bro?
Blessings to you, Professor Allen, Sister Wani, Sister Nikki the God. It's always a pleasure to hear these spaces. You know, you guys have been putting it down in these spaces, and I really do appreciate it. Um,
Appreciate you too, bro.
I appreciate you more, trust me. I wanted to, and this is a bit off topic, but I noticed that our brother Black Freedom, excuse me, Black Freedman is in the building. And I heard a space with him and Tariq the other day where he was saying he's in Houston and he's looking for some brothers to actually, pick up on some of those construction jobs. I sent you, well, hit you with a follow because I have several brothers out here in Houston who are willing to pick up those jobs and they're ready to go like today. So
There it is.
please make sure you hit me back with a follow because for some reason I can't message you unless you know you're following me back. But I do know a lot of people who are willing to look to jump right into it. But bless.
So the Church. If you're talking about me, I'm following you. I think you were talking to him though,
I'm
right?
talking about Black Freedman.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Black Freedom. Freedom. Go ahead and follow the Church. He got some. You know what I'm saying? This is networking. This is black love. This is, man. That makes me. What a wonderful sweet note to end on. Two FBA brothers, trading information to try to get each other paid legally. I love it. We're turning a new
Hey,
page.
Professor Allen.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, I'm here, man. I'm new to these platforms, so I'm trying to get familiar with how everything goes. Hey,
Uh
tell
huh.
my man to go ahead and DM me, and then we can go ahead and network and make this happen.
Brother Church, go ahead and
That's
DM.
the thing. I can't DM you unless you follow me back. You can
Okay,
only DM
so
people that follows you.
yes, sir.
Hey, it's not a
Black.
problem. I got you, man. I got you.
Oh yeah, go make sure you follow him, and then you can DM him. I'm following you now.
Hey, Professor Allen, man, I appreciate your spaces too, man. Hey, man, I love it. I love Black Unity. I love Black information that's going on through y'all podcasts, man. Appreciate everything y'all doing.
Oh man, yeah, Wani and Nikki making it possible, man. So yeah, we're gonna put it down tomorrow again. It's a possibility we might have a double space tomorrow, but we definitely will be on tomorrow. We're talking about Freud and how he fucked up this country, fucked up this world with his fucked up high on coke goddamn ideology. Fuck him. Well, we're gonna talk about him tomorrow. I love y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Wani, you had any last words?
Good night.
Nikki, any last words?
Good night. Have a
Y'all
good
peace
night.
out.
Good night, Professor Wani, Nick.
Good night all to all of you. Good
All
night
right.
on housing. See